if you feel like you're starting to get weird print defects or maybe stringing or something that looks like under extrusion somewhere you haven't had it, or weird textures on the sides of your prints or on the top, you may have a partial clog in your extruder. I'm going to show you how to fix it. Quick little guide here on how to do a cold pull. This is on a P2S, but it will also work on the other Bambu Lab printers generally. So I already did it, but first you pop your tool head cover off, and then you're going to press down on that round black thing and pop your PTFE tube out and just get it out of the way. It's going to sit somewhere. Then you're going to go here to your menu, and you go Settings, Toolbox, Nozzle Cold Pull. I like to use white, so you can see I have white here. It is not loaded in the AMS, I just have it dangling down. Follow the instructions. 0.4 millimeter nozzle, I'm doing PLA, we're going to go 250. And so it's going to do start, and then I'm assuming it's going to guide me through it with that, which is actually kind of fun. So, oh yeah, it looks like it's going to home, tell me to unplug the PTFE tube, which I already did. Wow, this is way more automated than the X1C. Sorry, fam. This is pretty cool. Neat little safety feature they have here too is it's stuck on homing the tool head while the nozzle cools. So it's actually pretty smart, just so you don't burn yourself. I actually just burned myself a minute ago because it's hard to film and do stuff, especially one-handed on the high screen here before I throw you on the tripod. So you can see completely automated here. It's going to home the tool head. I'm actually going to snag the PTFE tube up out of the way. We'll just hang on to that for a minute. If you're ever having feed issues too, just always take a look. So this is the tip of the PTFE tube. You can see it gets a little bit worn. And that just happens over time. I have, I want to say 700 or 800 hours on this printer so far. And it just happens. So if you ever have an issue, snip, the end millimeter or two off and then stick it back in, you'll be fine. It's not worth replacing a tube for that. All right, so homing is done. Now you can see it says press the black PTFE tube coupler down and then unplug the tube. It also asks you to hang the front cover on top of the X-axis, which I did because it said to. I honestly don't love that. I usually just let it dangle by the wire very gently. I just kind of set it up. I feel like here it can get kind of greasy, and I don't really like to touch the X-axis there, but I guess that comes from the X1 carbon because it says never to touch it on that one. So we say complete. Now we're going to feed the filament. So we're going to take the end. Oh, and it's actually really annoying. I don't like that I can't do it from up front. I usually like to feed the filament in from, I usually bump the tool head all the way up to here so that I have a straight shot into it. But here you can see, filament is fed, it's heating the nozzle. It's going to purge the filament. I'll throw you on here and you can see the purge happen. There we go. Also, sometimes when you get a little blob like that at the end, it can mean you have a partial clog. I'm doing this because it was printing like the filament was just constantly soaked on a couple different rolls of filament. And so I'm wondering if I have a partial clog. I did dry the filament too, but it's PLA matte that I never dry, and it's usually fine. And so we'll take a look and see what comes out. And again, the reason you want to use the white filament is that way when you stop and you actually pull the filament back out, you can see whatever gunk is stuck in there. So I haven't done a single cold pull on this printer since I bought it. Again, 700-ish hours, something like that, 600 or 700. So we'll see what we get. I really do appreciate the hand holding here by Bambu. I think this is one of those topics. Everyone on Reddit and YouTube and stuff says, hey, I have a clog, what do I do now? And people start saying, oh, pull the nozzle out, hit it with a heat gun, poke it with a needle, do all this crazy stuff. This is the first thing you should do. You can warm up the nozzle, jam the little tiny needle up into there and see what happens, right? See if you can unclog anything and then do some cold pulls. That you will find success. But if you go hit the nozzle itself with a heat gun or a torch or something, instead of just heating it up in place on the precision heater that it's attached to, you run the risk of doing stupid stuff. Like I melted the magnet off of my first A1 nozzle. So, I arguably got 200 hours out of it because I ruined it with a heat gun and realized I could have just done cold pull. So as we go up here, you'll see now it's on the cooling of the nozzle. And so it's going to go all the way down to 105, which is also a little change. I think historically Bambu printers have done 100C. But again, it's cooling way back down to below a printable temp for PLA. And that's so that it can re-solidify up there. It's going to re-solidify really down here, I guess. It's going to re-solidify just above the tip of the nozzle in here. And then we're literally going to use the retraction of the printer along with us pulling up gently to help it. And it's just going to pull anything back that's in the tip of the printer. And you can do it a couple times. You want to kind of do it till you get nothing out. But we'll see how this first one looks. A couple minutes to go here. Probably a minute or two to wait for it to cool. The other thing I'll say is at this point, you can just yoink that off. And look, you have a nice little escape rope that you can do something with. And I do want to say, if you look at the end here, I don't know if I can get it to focus, but it's a little, I'd say a little bit of black residue in there, but I was printing black before this. So let's see what happens. Looks like it's taking us even cooler. So it said down to 105 before. Now it says down to 85. Kind of interesting that goalpost moved on us, but we'll see what happens. Really taking its time there. You can see the 92, 91, 90. All right, so now it's cooled the nozzle. I'm very curious when it's going to tell me to manually pull it back. Oh, I can feel it's extruding it back up on its own. Very cool. Extruding back up on its own, but I need to give it a little bit of help. And that's kind of what you get. So you'll see, you'll have a kind of deformed looking end. And in this case, it does look like there's kind of some burned on junk on there. I'll get a better view of that. But that's awesome. I think that's been done. I think we're gonna do one more because there was actually some gunk on there. And you can see here it'll actually instruct you, which is really nice. Super user friendly here. Hey, does it look good or bad, right? If there's a bunch of black gunk on the bottom, you want to do it again. If there's not, then keep it the same. So we're going to do it again. Just because we're already set up for it, that's honestly like 90% of the battle. The annoying thing here is it going to... Oh, perfect. So it gets you... Nice. I was worried it was going to make it rehome the tool head and everything again. And that'd be kind of annoying. But, whoa, Master Chief fell in the printer. You hop back up there. So let's just do this one more time. We're going to feed this guy in. We're going to do that, and then it's going to feed the filament in. I appreciate how well this just kind of grabs it. I did notice, and especially trying to do this on the A1, sometimes it's a little bit finicky with grabbing it in the first place. Now we're going to go through the same cycle again. Back to cooling. We're back. Again, the angle's a little bit awkward here. Sorry, Chief. Since we're kind of coming in under the glass, it's my fault for having the AMS like this. All right, this one looks good. I'll get a better shot in a second. I'll start off with good luck seeing this, but here we go anyway. So these are the two strings from the cold pull. This one closest to us right here was the first one, and you can see there's actually a dark ring in there, some other schmutz. And then as you get up here, you can see some more flecks of junk. So there was actually a little bit of a partial clog or something, some burned on gunk in the nozzle. To be expected after like 600-700 hours, whatever it's at. And this was the second one. And you can see this one's nice and clean. And it's actually funny, it's got this little trunk off the front of it. That's because I didn't pull off that purged piece of filament for the second one. And so again, you always really want to pull that off. Otherwise, it kind of sticks to itself. and gets yanked back through the nozzle a little bit. But yeah, this is textbook why you do a cold pull. So again, don't do a heat gun, don't do a torch, don't do any other crazy stuff until you just do the basic built-in function.